So I've decided to make this quick video talking about why we sit, why we practice mindfulness. Because our mind needs to be trained, or rather retrained. Children are very good at being mindful. Children are very good at being completely focused on one thing in the moment. But as we become adults, we find it more and more increasingly difficult to just focus on the one thing at hand, especially if we have repetitive negative thoughts going through our heads and going, woohoo, woohoo, listen to me. The reason why we sit is to practice bringing our mind back to a particular focus that is of our choosing. So that may be watching your breath. That may be focusing on a particular body part. We bring our focus back. That is the practice. So before you start meditating, you can feel like you're going to just sit down and you're going to listen to the MP3 or set the timer and just go into this kind of Zen state where you just clear your mind. It's beautiful. That's what I really wanted it to be. That's what I wanted meditation to be. I wanted it to be that I could just sit down and switch off my mind to give me some relief from the thoughts that were going on and on. But that isn't what it is. We sit so that we practice, and we literally sit and we wait for the thoughts to come, and as they come, we let them go. So imagine it as helium balloons. Each thought can be like a helium balloon, and you can choose to grab onto that and analyze that balloon. Like, how is it made? What picture has it got? Like, should we still be using helium? We need it for medical purposes, etc., etc. Or you can just let it float on up. And that same thought will come again, and it feels like it's the same balloon, like on a loop, but it's not. It's actually a new thought, because there sometimes can be variations. They keep coming, and with mindfulness, what we want to do is just observe them coming and let them go, and let them go, and let them go, again and again and again. And this is why it's practice, because even when you've been practicing mindfulness, practicing meditation for years, you will still have times where you sit down and your mind is so agitated and so desperate to get up and push on with your day, because so many times we tell ourselves that the reason why we're feeling anxious is because there are things we need to do, and then once we've done them, we'll stop feeling anxious, or we'll stop feeling agitated, we'll stop feeling blah blah blah. Excuse me. But actually, the end of the to-do list will never arrive. You will never get to the end, because there will always be new things being put on there. Excuse me. The practice is knowing that by giving yourself this space to train your mind, to bring your focus back to your breath or a part of your body, time and time again, you're practicing, you're working that muscle. So then when you need to lift something really heavy or deal with something really heavy in your life, you've trained that muscle so you're able to do it in a much more eloquent way, because you've been practicing. And you don't need to have silence, you don't need to have a special space to be able to do this. You can do this purely by just plonking your ass down, or even just standing up wherever you happen to be, focusing on something. You don't even need to close your eyes. You could focus literally on like the mug in your hands, the smell of your tea, the taste of it, the warmth of it, the comfort of it. So an example of this, when I was doing my mindfulness training, and I was having one-to-one sessions with a coach, and it was in this dilapidated high-rise in Archway. And it used to be like a massive open plan office, and what they'd done is they'd divided the space up with these like prefab walls, which were literally just made of cardboard and plasterboard. Excuse me. Anyhow, and so if someone was in the next door room, you couldn't hear exactly what they were saying, but you could hear that like mumbling. And so part of our sessions would be chatting, and then we would always do a mindfulness practice together within the session. In this one session, the people next door were having a really heated conversation, so all I could hear was and so I was finding it so difficult to concentrate, and the thoughts that were going through my mind was like, do they not know that I'm practicing mindfulness in here? Like, how inconsiderate. This shouldn't be allowed. We should have this like serene floor of just peace where people are learning mindfulness, and it should be like this meditation center, and it should be wonderful. Whereas actually that session is the one that I remember the most, because at the end my mindfulness teacher Clara said, she goes, how was that? I said, I found it really difficult. And she was like, good, that's the practice. The practice is you could choose to focus on the voices in the next room. You could choose to focus on how annoying it was, how inconsiderate they were, how you just want peace and quiet. That was the practice. It was witnessing those thoughts. I was aware that I was having all those thoughts and still able to choose to keep going through that practice. So I didn't open my eyes and go, well, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to do it now. Which is what we do so many times when we're practicing ourselves, isn't it? It's like, this isn't the right time, this isn't working for me, so we just get up and we go do something else. But by making yourself stay and practice bringing yourself back to yourself, bringing yourself back to yourself, that is the practice. And that is where it's so powerful, because I learned something in those 15 minutes. I was sat, and even though it wasn't this beautiful, relaxing experience that I wanted it to be, it was a learning experience of, I get to choose if I allow the actions of other people, things outside of me, to influence how I feel in this minute and what I'm choosing to do with my time and my thoughts. I chose to keep sitting there, keep bringing myself back to the breath. And that's the choice. You get to just sit or stand wherever and focus on what you choose to focus on. So another example is when I was in IKEA. It was a few years back. It was so busy. This was obviously the days before Corona. So busy. And I felt a panic attack coming on. I was like, there were too many people. People are too close to me. I can't. Oh, it was too much. And I just wanted to get back in the car, drive home. But it was a 40-minute drive, and I really wanted those new photo frames. I was like, I've driven all the way here. That is why I'm here. So I just sat down in one of those room sets, with the sofas, people freaking everywhere. Just sat myself down, closed my eyes, focused on my breath. Focused on my breath. Focused on my breath. Until the feeling of panic had subsided. I didn't have a meditation, I didn't have my earphones, I didn't have anything to cover my eyes, I didn't have peace and quiet, I didn't have solitude. But I had my breath. And I allowed myself just to sit there with the feelings of panic and breathe through them until I was strong enough to get up and go get my photo frames. So you see, this is where you can really become to rely on your breath. Your breath will always be with you. From your first to your last, we have our breath. And choosing for it to be your strength, choosing for it to be what you come back to time and time and time again. That is the practice. That is why it's called mindfulness practice, meditation practice, not mindfulness perfect, mindfulness perfection, meditation perfection. Hope this was helpful. I'm Naomi Wolfson, and just drop me a DM if you want to know more about how to bring a meditation practice into your own life.